How's it going, kiddos? Handsome Jack Boy here, bringing you guys the third episode of my Borderlands Dust Waste Legendary Weapons Guide. And in this episode, I'm going to be covering the Eviscerator. The Eviscerator is a Hyperion rocket launcher, and the prefix for mine is RPG20.W Evil Eviscerator. The prefix for you guys might change. Now, as you can see there in the red text, it says ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That means that the Eviscerator has a really high fire rate. Instead of it being a rocket launcher that you can just hold down the trigger to keep firing, it's actually a manual firing rocket launcher. So you have to keep tapping the trigger for each shot, which is actually not a bad thing here, because with this rocket launcher, since it has a pretty damn good fire rate, you can spam rockets. It's really cool. A couple other things it has going for it is that it has a unique barrel, and it also has increased clip size compared to other rocket launchers. And the damage is reduced a little bit just to compensate for the high fire rates and increased clip size. Now, my opinion about the Eviscerator, man, I just cannot get enough of this weapon. It's really a blast to use, pun intended. And I'm not kidding, it's one of the most fun rocket launchers I've used in Borderlands, period. Like, it's a lot of fun. There's just something about going around and spamming missiles in people's faces, and it really feels like a good rocket launcher. You know, the rocket launchers in Borderlands 1 were kind of underwhelming. The splash damage was never really splash damage. A lot of the time, you know, it just never really connected. You actually had to, like, hit the enemy directly for it to connect, but with this weapon, I feel like the splash damage isn't really noticeable, just because it's a rocket launcher that's meant to be spammed. You know, you're supposed to spam the missiles everywhere, around your target, at your target, and it's just kind of hard to notice. I mean, sometimes there's certain issues with the collision. I think that's what it is that, you know, prevents that damage from splashing onto the enemy that you're trying to, well, splash it on, if that makes sense. But again, it's really not that big of a deal. I mean, you don't really have to worry too much about it. But something I noticed about this weapon is that it's better to use against groups of weaker enemies instead of like big tough enemies like, for example, the bruisers. I feel that's intentional though. It just feels like a weapon that is meant to clear out small groups of enemies rather than bigger enemies. But nothing is as satisfying as plowing a shitload of missiles into a bruiser's face, I will admit that. Later in this footage, I have a rocket launcher duel with a badass bruiser, and I'll most likely show that here because it's just so badass. I end up destroying him, by the way. Now, I think the best class to use this weapon with has to be Brick. I can imagine Brick being an absolute beast with this weapon. At max level, rocking the Blastmaster build, oh, damn, son. Once I get my Let's Play Brick up to max level, I'm going to try that shit out. The next best character, though, is Roland, just with the fact that he specializes in, like, any weapon, as well as having ammo regen. I know Brick has ammo regen for rocket launchers as well, but I believe Roland can regenerate rocket launcher ammo faster with the right setup. And that's kind of one of the cons I have about the weapon, is the fact that it runs out of ammo pretty quickly, especially if you just carelessly, like, spam missiles everywhere. You'll run out of ammo fairly quickly. But that's really just a minor complaints about an otherwise fantastic weapon. But apart from that though, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe for more, and I'm out of here. Peace!